Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It is Thursday, March 23rd. Thank you guys for taking the time away from your families to be on this call tonight. And thank you to our guest of honor who is taking his Thursday to hop on and share some wisdom with us. I'm super, super excited that we were able to make this happen. Some kudos go to your fabulous wife for helping me set this up with your schedule. You know him as our very first super trainer. Let's see if I can get everything that we've done. Number one, Power 90, P90X, P90X2, P90X3, P90X Plus, one-on-one, 10-minute trainer, 22-minute hardcore. What else am I missing?
I think you got it all.
Did I get it all?
I think you got most of it. Yeah. You said one-on-one, right? I think. And
yeah, P90X.
And Ho Alacacano, classic. Everybody should have that one. I don't know why everybody doesn't have that one, but yes, it's been a long ride, almost 20 years with Beachbody, and I look the same. Well, I don't know about that, but I feel better, so that's a good thing.
Right?
Yep.
Well, I am super excited to have you on tonight. I thank you again for taking the time to talk with us. And, I know that you have started to really talk a lot more about personal development and how it's really helped you in your life. And, with the big picture coming out a couple of years ago that, I think all of us picked it up and really it hit home for so many of us. And now you've got this great course that you're working on with Brendan, who's going to be our keynote speaker. So I'd love to have you sort of share with us how it's really helped you and, really playing up as far as personal development goes and really helping, swing that pendulum with your business and your whole life.
Well, I think growth of any kind comes from an ever-changing perspective. And I think people who are stuck physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, relationships, you name it, it's because they're still looking at life the same way they did when they were struggling. And so you kind of end up spinning around and around, and you don't really make the dramatic shift that needs to happen. And that, and so a lot of people are afraid of transformation. They're afraid of change. They like holding on to what they know because it's familiar, and any kind of new stuff or philosophies, techniques, methods, teachings, whatever you want to call it, is scary. And as soon as you realize that that's all nonsense and that the ultimate goal really is to make sure that, you're always sort of reinventing yourself to a certain degree, then most certainly you'll have a new perspective, and that new perspective will allow you to grow faster. And if you look at Brendan Bouchard, for example, his whole thing, much like Tony Robbins and others that came before him, is all based on personal development. Looking at yourself the way you are and seeing what doesn't work and making sure that you find techniques so you don't do that anymore. And then you take his techniques, and maybe you'll take the techniques that I have in my new course, Living Large, and use those as a means in which you can improve yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, relationships, financially, whatever it is, what I mean? So you look at your life, you make a list of all the areas of your life, maybe some of the ones I just mentioned, and you look at to see where I'm kicking butt or not. If you're a coach, theoretically, you have enough information when it comes to your physical and your dietary and your supplementation. We kind of cover that. And so if you apply the things that we've been talking about for the last 20 years, then that one you should have covered. But there's still, I'll go to Summit or I'll go to a coach event or something, and I'll see a lot of coaches who are still really struggling with their weight, because there's a food addiction in this country, and you can talk about it 1,000 different ways, but we just like fat, sugar, salt, and chemicals that come out of boxes, bottles, cans, and bags. And we don't eat whole foods anymore. We don't eat like our great-great-great-grandparents eat anymore. And so when you learn through Beachbody that maybe you should do, I don't care, P90, max 25, PIO, just move your butt, man. I mean, move your butt in a variety of ways so that you're focusing on not only your strengths, but also your weaknesses. And so when it comes to transformation, you have to work on your weaknesses pretty much specifically, you know what I mean? And so for me, I was a procrastinator. What are the things I needed to do not to be a procrastinator? I was somebody who was very fearful when it came to trying new things and meeting new people and trying new courses and doing whatever. And then I ended up doing stand-up comedy and improv comedy and climbing ropes upside down, only because I was willing to go through the learning process and not be attached to the outcome, keep my expectations incredibly low so that I'm not disappointed all the time. I stopped comparing myself to others. I stopped comparing myself to the past. I stopped doing things solely for the purpose that the future was going to be better, and just trying to be more present and enjoy the journey and understand that ultimately is where the money is, as opposed to the car and the house and the paid bills and all these other things that are nice. I mean, it's nice to have those things. But I also knew along the way through personal development that there were certain things that I could control, external forces and internal forces. The external forces are going to come. Traffic and family and work and stresses that, I think my wife just came home. I wasn't sure. Honey, I fed the dogs, FYI. Don't feed them again. Hey, life at the Horton house. But these are all things that I really needed to learn. My fitness journey started with personal development. It was personal development first. Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins, Richard Carlson, Gary Zukav. I mean, man, you look at my library and it's all personal development books and fitness books. I mean, that's really, I'm a very myopic guy in those two ways. But it's brought me great joy and happiness. And the whole reason why we're a coach, the reason why we're on this earth, the reason why we want to do relationships, the reason why I want to do anything is joy and happiness. It's joy and happiness. It's more smiles, more laughter, more camaraderie, more travel, more experiences, and less sorrow. And so I wrote the book, The Big Picture, because I wrote my first two books, Bring It and Crush It, and those were great, and that's what trainers are supposed to do, and I was fine with that. But I wanted people to understand how I got there, and I got there through all the 12 steps, 10 commandments. I got 11 in the middle, and so these laws changed over time. The first law is do your best to forget the rest, but that wasn't even a law initially. But I looked at it and I said, hey, I'm writing this book. This is a valid thing that really means a lot to me, means a lot to coaches, helps people understand that all that other stuff that I'm thinking about that's keeping me from going anywhere is just not effective. So I'm just going to do my best, and it changes from day to day. It changes because of sleep and stress and dehydration and sleep deprivation and barometric pressure and who the hell knows what it is. You know what I mean? Cloudy days. You know what I mean? Your wife yelled at you and you didn't expect that. So, you know what I mean? So you do your best anyway. The whole thing's about showing up. Show up. I never showed up to anything. And so what a shock, nothing happened. Nothing good happened because I said no. Opportunity, and people still do that. I have friends of mine who have opportunities to show up to simple, basic. All I have to do is just sit there in a chair and fold their arms and listen. And they still say no. I know people who aren't going to Summit because they think it's going to be too hot. Or they don't like New Orleans because they can't find good food. How about shut up and go out and hang out with your friends and learn, be better. Oh, I don't want to go because shut up. I mean, holy smokes, man. Here's life. Done, born, death. You know that great song, the Godfather song? Birth, school, work, death. That's it. I mean, I'm 58. I was 28 15 minutes ago. Tick, 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 tick. So step up to the plate, start swinging. Sometimes you get a strikeout. So what? Get busy. That's what the book was about. It's like, here's some simple things that a guy like me with a C- student in speech impediment can achieve. All right, who never graduated from college. Like, how the hell did I get this far? On paper, I was not going to make it, But I followed these simple laws. These laws got me off my butt, got me busy, got me to participate, got me to be curious, and allowed me to continue to learn and grow and get better. Boom. I met Brendan Bouchard, and he said, hey, man, there's some aspects of this book that need to be in a course. Let's break this thing up into 5 sections: variety, consistency, intensity, purpose, potential outcomes, planning, prioritizing, balance, progression, breakthroughs, and what are the takeaways from all this stuff. Well, I mean, you can rip through this course in 4 days if you want to. You can take a month if you need to. I mean, there's a lot of writing down. There's a lot of pen to paper. But these are simple questions that maybe a lot of people just sort of, go, I don't know if I really want to think about that, or maybe I don't think about that. but it's so common sense. You just go, geez, you know, and the whole idea is to move forward, is to progress, is to achieve a level of health and wellness. You know, I did an event for Brendan in San Diego, and I came out on stage with 2,000 of his fans. You know, I mean, there were some P90X folks in there, so I had some people that were, or you know, Beachbody coaches and stuff. So it wasn't like I was, you know, playing with a brand new crowd. But I walked out, I dropped on my knees, and I pointed at everybody, and I said, "Who wants to be awesome?" Right? And everybody was like, "Yeah." And I said, "So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and the answer for everyone is I do." Because when I got on a knee on a beach in Hawaii, you know, after 7 years of dating my wife, that was I had to make sure that I did everything right, so I got that answer. You know, you marry me? I'm going to wait. No, she said I do. There was no hesitation, right? So I said, I'm going to ask everybody a series of questions, and the answer for everybody is I do. No, if it doesn't apply to you, then don't say I do. I said, let me ask that question again. Who wants to be awesome? I do. Who wants financial freedom? I do. Who wants to be fit and healthy? I do. Who wants to see more of the world? I do. Who wants to, you know, be able to just laugh more and have more joy? I do, right? So these are things that almost everybody wants, you know, and so then the ultimate goal is, what are the 3 to 5 things that you're going to do in one of these categories that matters to you, so that you can move forward? And so if you look at my book, the big picture, or you look at the course with Brendan, Living Large with moi, Tony Horton, then it all directs you toward a new perspective, a new outlook, new methods, techniques, and ideas that will, you know, it's like coaching. How many people got into coaching and went, I don't know about this MLM thing. This is, you know, what are we selling here? Vitamins, and now they're like a 5-star and they quit their job. You know what I mean? And why? Because they have a new perspective based on information, based on what we are doing right now. This exchange, words coming out of my mouth, going into your ears, being processed inside of your brain and going, well, some of that is silly, but part of it makes sense. Maybe I should go get the book or go buy the course and be involved in more of these coach calls, because it's vital. It's vital to moving forward and finding joy and happiness. Period. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all you got. So,
but I got more in case you have more questions. So.
Where can everybody find your course? I think most of us have the book, if not all of us. I know I have the book.
Thank you.
Thank you. Years ago for me when it came out at Summit.
You know, the book is great because the information's there, but it's a passive way to take in information, where the course is a more active way. You know, you're participating more in the process. You're looking at your own stuff, you know what I mean? And you're writing down the things that mean something to you, that matter to you. And then you have to write down something else. Okay, like here's where I'm missing out on certain aspects of my life. What do I need to do? And, you know, you can go anywhere. I mean, if you want to see me somewhere, or you want to buy my book, or you want to buy the course, it's TonyHortonLife.com. Super simple. And that'll take you right to my website. And, you know, you can hit all the different tabs based on, events. So Tony's going to be at the Omega Institute in June. That might be cool. I've never done that before. I live Omega Institutes in New York. So if there's anybody on this call who's anywhere from Ohio to Maine.
A lot of New Yorkers on this call, probably half.
A lot of New York. What are you doing? What are you doing? Omega's beautiful up there in Rhinebeck. Unbelievable. Gorgeous. Gorgeous in Rhinebeck. You come up, you hang out with me for 2.5 days. We learn. We learn live. You, me, and just 100 people. Not Summit where there's 30,000 people. It's you, me, and 100 people. It's just, and there's so many lessons. I mean, it's really, there are workouts, and there's meditation, and there's 22-minute hardcore, a little P90X3. We're going to do our workouts too. But it's really about, you know, pairing up into groups of 2 or 5 or 10 sometimes, and looking at our stuff and deciding what to do, and writing on paper and exchanging emails and phone calls and going, hey, let's all get united. Let's be part of this community and help each other, because no man is an island, no woman is an island. And so I've become successful mostly based on the company I keep, you know, and I talk about that in the book, and I talk about that a lot in the course, you know, getting rid of the riffraff, building your tribe, and let's, you know, take that hill, you know what I'm saying? So this is all part of it.
Mm-hmm. So when will you be in New York?
I'll be in New York. Honey, when will I be in New York? Wait a minute. Wait. I'll give you exact dates right now. Hold, please. If you go to Tony Horton Life, you'll know before I do. Okay, a lot of pop-ups here. And the answer is holding. 23rd through the 25th of June. So Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. So it's Friday night, big meet and greet, and the early start. We'll do a class. Saturday is super intensive all day. The last couple of years, we've been doing obstacle courses out in the grass, which is pretty fun. Everybody teams up, and we do silly things out there. And but Saturday's a big day, and then Sunday's kind of a half day, but still we jam in a lot on Sunday as well.
There you go, guys.
And a lot of people just spend the rest of the day Sunday, go home Monday, but it depends on that. So if you go on accommodations and food, so you're covered. You can, and the food. If you gain weight here, you brought a bunch of Snickers bars on the side, okay? Because the food is organic, grown locally, local beef and chicken, and all the food is from farms in the area, and you can eat all you want. It's all buffet style. You just keep piling it in, but it's hard to eat really overeat whole foods. And the accommodations are rustic, okay? But they got air conditioning, and the beds are not terrible, and the shower works. So, but it's not about that. It's about the learning experience and hanging out with really cool people. And people come in from all over the world. I've had people from Australia and Turkey and London and England and everywhere, man. It's a pretty eclectic group, you know what I mean? And it's not all coaches. It's a really, it's everybody. It's really fun.
Awesome. And you'll be at Summit. So those of you, if you don't have a ticket for Summit, get your tickets, because that's where the magic happens, is getting to these live events. And will we see you in the Dominican Republic next month?
You will not. I am in the middle of a new project called, and it's awesome. And I'm excited about it because you know who's going to be in it? It's going to be and so I'll be casting and rehearsing and shooting and
all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't have your tickets for Summit, make sure that you get it.
Is there any more space? I don't know. I mean, I think they moved it to New Orleans because
we are not sold out.
We are not sold out.
Yeah,
I don't know why you wouldn't go. I mean, plane, trains, and automobiles to get there. Stay in a van down by the river. I don't care. You know what I mean? But try to make it, if there are seats, because it is such an over the chain learning experience when it comes to everything that coaches can do and how far they can go. And I'm surprised it's not sold out yet. So I don't know how many are sold out, but 25,000 plus. I mean, you might see me on stage from 300 yards away. You're not going to be able to really get up close and personal. But what I do sometimes is I sneak out of my room. Corporate doesn't like that. They don't like when I sneak out. It kind of messes up everybody's schedule. But I'll just go wander the streets and shake hands and sign autographs and whatever, throw you some beads, whatever you need.
Great reason to qualify for all those parties that you guys get to show up at.
That's right. When you qualify for those parties, you get to hang out with me and Sean and Shalene and Autumn and all the super trainers.
We did last year at Summit. We got some photos at the elite party, and I had bought a P90X onesie. Little guy.
Oh, look at the little.
I didn't do it yet, so.
All right, well,
but
got to do it.
Thank you for taking the time out of your evening to come on and chat with us and share, your tips. And guys, we talk about this all the time. Personal development is the basis for everything. Nobody's immune from it. Everybody needs to do it. And, look where this guy ended up by just saying.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, if you look at Shalene, Shalene's just helped so many people through her personal development thing, and I watched her and I thought, where am I? What have I been doing? But, it's not like I haven't been busy. I've got my new skin and hair care line. If anybody's interested in that, I'll do one more final plug. But I did a post today for TH Care, it's called, and we have a 2-for-1 right now. So I don't know how long that's going to last, but you buy one, you get one free, and there's 3 new products there. We had 2, which was hair and body wash and face and skin lotion, but we've added an oil, we've added shaving cream, we've added a 5th product that is also another way to clean your hair differently than the other one we have. So, and they're great, and people seem to love them, and the response is off the chain. So you can get that at Tony Horton Life as well. So I'm super busy, obviously, with this new program called and TH Care, and then the new course with Brendan. And
we have one question. Do you still have your nutrition line?
Oh, my nutrition line. That's a great. Actually, yeah. Why don't we? I can stay on for a little bit if people want to ask me questions. I'm totally into that. No, Tony Horton Kitchen is on hold. Partly because 7-Eleven, even though they had it in 105 stores, killed it because they'd rather sell hot dogs, cigarettes, and Red Bull, which is the most sad thing in the world. There was a division over there that were these young guns, just like, hey, let's work with Tony, let's get this thing out there. And then there were a bunch of VPs there who just would rather sell death food to people. So unfortunately, that didn't continue. And then a home delivery guy that we were working with making our food didn't pay us. So that's business, you know what I mean? And it's hard. I mean, I have 21 failed attempts at things outside of Beachbody. Insoles, mouth guards, shoe deals, TV pilots. You know, it's not easy. But you know, the course with Brendan, thank God, has done really well. People love it. And TH Care is in a brand new phase as we continue to grow. And one thing I learned from Brendan is, you know, don't spread yourself too thin. So I'm going to, you know, continue working with Beachbody, TH Care, and of course with Brendan. That's it, no mas. So, but then again, I do have a TV pilot I might be doing. It's just, you know, I'm not gonna hold my breath because Hollywood's, you know, fickle. What else do I have, honey? Actually, yeah, but I don't want to, you know, like Sean and my wife saying, well, there's a food, we're working on a food line and possibly going on a QVC and selling it. But, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna count those chickens till they hatch. So, you know, that's something we're working on. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. Anna says she is struggling to get men to believe in Beachbody, and they want to go to the gym and just take those crappy GNC supplements. And what would be?
You know, that's tough because, you know, here's the thing. No one can be influenced by anybody else unless they're asking for advice. The worst kind of advice that you can give is the concept everyone asked for in the first place. So people are going to learn their lesson when they learn their lesson, right? So all you can do is live by example. If you're crazy fit and you have a ton of energy and you never get sick and you do everything that we say, then eventually people are going to come along. And sometimes that takes years before people figure that stuff out on their own. But, you know, you can't force anything down anybody's throat. I mean, even your own family, it's such a drag. But that's the truth. Leave people alone. They'll discover it on their own. I mean, like my wife. I mean, I love my wife to death, but I'm not going to tell her to work out with me. I'm not going to tell her that she needs to drink Shakeology. You know what I mean? She'll do it when she wants. She does her own thing, and the relationship is less strained. So if you want to strain your relationship, try to convince people to do something other than they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I've been Muslim my whole life, but you're really into Christianity. Sorry. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, hey, I love Pilates, but now you want me to bodybuild. No, you know what I mean? So you just got to leave your friends and family and coworkers alone and do what you got to do and then hang out with the people who are loving what you're loving, period.
What's your favorite part about being partnered with Beachbody?
They give me a lot of freedom. Beachbody really does allow me to do a lot of the things that I want to do. Like the project I'm working on right now, Carl had a certain vision and then we had a conversation and he liked my ideas and now we've got a nice little combination of those two things. And Carl's open to ideas other than his own, especially with me, you know what I mean? Because I've been around for a while and I'll say, hey dude, I don't want to do it that way. And he'll go, all right, well, how do you want to do it? And then I'll say, what about this and this and this? He goes, and he'll go, let me think about that. And he usually comes back and says, cool, because he understands that I kind of know what I'm doing, you know? And that's it, right? And look, you know, 18 years and I'm still relevant? How is that possible? I mean, a lot of companies would have kicked me to the curb by now, for sure, because I'm 58 years old. But I try to stay in the best shape I can. I made TH Care because my hair and skin was getting a little, you know, freaked out. So I had these, you know, these formulas created based on a great combination of science and nature. You know, they're all natural. I mean, all natural. Anybody can say that. But they're paraben free. They're gluten free. They're they're Whole Food compliant, they're Prop 65 compliant, and they're also made in the USA. And so all that just said to me, hey, look, my skin is getting cream from burning it in the sun. I'm just a Irish and English white boy that should have stayed out of the sun. You know what I mean? And I learned my lesson. So I had these things formulated, and so I'm able to do that outside of Beachbody. Carl doesn't have a problem with me doing that. Carl doesn't have a problem with me writing books or doing this course with Brendan, because he understands a lot of coaches will benefit from it. So that's, there's a lot of why it's been an awesome ride for almost 20 years.
Yeah. You ever think of retiring?
I don't know. If you guys still want me around, I don't know why I would retire. I love seeing people get it. You know what I mean? Like when I talk with people, my job is to figure out the best ways to communicate this lifestyle. And if you believe what I say, and you have faith in what I'm telling you, and you want to practice that on a regular basis, then I guarantee without a doubt, you will see dramatic change in your life. Not only physically, the tape measure and the scale and the compliments from others, that's all really great, but it has nothing to do with how you feel in your own skin. And when you wake up in the morning and you just feel like, God, I can bend over and tie my shoes, I can fly up a set of stairs, I can get through a 22-minute hardcore workout. I've never had more energy and enthusiasm for life before. And then when people stop me and say, I can't tell you how different my world is now because I get it, that's why I'm in it. Why wouldn't I want to do that into my 90s? Maybe I'll retire at 100 or something, but I feel like I've got more energy and than I've ever had. You know what I mean? I just don't miss workouts. When I miss 2 days in a row, I can see a lot of you. Raise your hand if you miss 2 or 3 days in a row and how you feel when you do that. Raise your hand if that feels awesome. No, it doesn't. It feels bad. It feels good when you don't miss days. You know what I mean? How do you feel after a workout? Always good. You feel a little whipped or something, but you always feel like you've accomplished something. It shifts your mind. Norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, brain-derived neurotropic factor. These are things that are released inside your brain after a workout. If you don't work out, you don't get it unless you take drugs or drink. You know what I mean? But the consequences are too dire when you do those things. The consequences of exercise are always moving you in a positive direction. Aging is for people who aren't willing to learn what you need to do to avoid it from happening at the regular rate that everybody else is suffering from. So I also say aging is for idiots, but some people don't like me to say that.
When you were starting, professionally as a trainer, when you were starting in improv and even through now, who did you get inspiration from? Who did you draw inspiration and motivation from? I didn't have a single person. My father was on the road and he was an athlete, but he didn't like the process of becoming a good athlete, because back in the 40s and 50s when he was around, you were either a winner or a loser, and there wasn't a whole lot of encouragement. You didn't perform, but you didn't practice baseball, you played it. You didn't, you practiced basketball, but it was really about performing when you got in the court. Either you won or lost, and either felt really good about that, or you felt awful about it. And the whole training method was kind of new. Most of my coaches as a kid these guys were not good people. You know what I mean? They didn't work. I wasn't a great athlete, so they weren't willing to spend the time with me. They would have spent more time with the guys who were starting. And so I had to formulate a lot of this stuff on my own, based on my own personal experience. So I didn't have the mentors and teachers and coaches that a lot of people have. And so I thought, well, when I get older, I want to be that person for folks. So mine was formulated based on a lot of bad experiences, and try not to do that to the people I'm trying to help. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do one more question, but first we have a woman named Rebecca on. Her husband would like to say thank you. It was during his deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, doing P90X back in 2010, that started his fitness lifestyle change. So they wanted to send their thanks. And for those people who don't know, go ahead.
You are, first of all, thank you for your service. I cannot thank you enough. I've been to 53 military bases around the world, from Kosovo to South Korea. Been to Japan twice. Thank you, Armed Forces Entertainment. It's just been such a blast. I'm trying to do another one in Europe. It'd be fun to get up to Europe again, or I'd go to Japan one more time, because I just, I got an F-15C at Katina. Oh my God, Katina. Thank you, honey. Kadena Air Force Base in in Okinawa, and I threw up in that 7 times. If you've read my book, you know that story. I rewrote that story 3 times because I wanted you all to live it. Live the vomit. Look, I can see Scott Morgan laughing, you funny boy. What's up, dude? How you feeling? Scott worked out with me today. There's the peace sign. Love you, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, our men and women in uniform, most people have no idea. Most people have no idea what they're going through, man, how hard that is, and the sacrifice that's involved. And my dad served. He was a tank commander in the Army. I never did, you know, because in the 60s it was anything about, you know, anything that was anti-Vietnam. It's just, you know, that war was a joke. So I didn't go, you know what I mean? I was too young anyway, but now I do. Now I get in, you know, I go to as many bases as possible, and I take some rock stars with me, and we talk about P90X, X2, X3, hardcore, all of it. Hardcore is a tribute to our military, plain and simple. So.
And the last question, for those who don't know, because I know we have a lot of newer coaches on the call, what got you started with Beachbody? How did you and John and Carl sort of connect?
The short version of the story basically goes, I was reading one of my personal development books. I think it was Keith Ellis's The Magic Lamp. And at the end of it, I could be wrong about that. It might have been another book, but I remember that's how I tell the story because it feels like that, right? Either it was that book or another one. And at the end of every chapter, there was a lesson, like a physical thing you had to do. And at the end of that particular chapter, the lesson was, see if you can go out of your way and do something really nice for somebody that you don't necessarily like. You know, I thought to myself, wow, I don't even do nice things for people I like, so this is going to be hard. Right? So I used to play basketball on Saturdays with all these lawyers, and these guys were, you know, they're all wealthy, and they're all part of the same firm. And they just let me play because I knew one of them pretty well. And this one guy, Ben, who is the former CEO of Guthrie Renker, who became a competitor of ours, didn't like me. I didn't really like him, you know, because he was a wise guy, and he thought I was a wise guy. And so we would always kind of argue during games about who fouled who or whatever. It's just, this guy was such an arrogant putz, I thought. And then between games, he was complaining to his lawyer pals that he needed to lose some weight because he was, you know, he's just having a tough time, about 35 pounds. He's dragging that 35 pounds up and down the basketball court. And he said, I got to do something about this. And I remember at that moment thinking about that lesson, like, go out of your way and do something nice for somebody that you don't necessarily like. So I went over to him, hi, man, I don't know if you know I'm a trainer and I can help you. And I thought he would just say, you know, get out of my face. But he said, yeah, don't you train Tom Petty and Billy Idol and Sean Connery? And I went, yeah, how did you even know that? He goes, I pay attention. And he said, I'd love to start. And I looked at him like I thought I was, you know, dreaming, I don't know. And so we started the following Monday, and then, you know, within a week or two, we discovered we were a lot alike. You know what I mean? Isn't that funny? Like, you look at some people and go, opinion. I don't know anything about you, but I got an opinion about you. It's so silly. You know what I mean? Like, you see the color of somebody's skin and you got an opinion. It blows my mind. I want to like punch somebody when I hear that stuff. You know, whatever, right? Religion or color or job or how much money you make. I mean, what is wrong with us? And so a year later, he introduced me to Carl. He hired Carl to work for him at Guthrie Renker, and Carl was, you know, very smart, very innovative, very bright, hardworking dude. And Carl came over to work out one day, and we were laughing our butts off immediately. Like, this guy is a fireball, man. And then that was it. You know, I went out of my way and did something really nice for somebody that I didn't like. You might want to try that. I say everybody on this call should try that. You might not meet the next person who makes you a millionaire, but that's what Carl did. And then we did Great Body Guarantee. He paid me $2,000, which was all the money in the world to me at that time, you know. And it made money, and investors noticed. And then we did Power 90. And then I got to pay off all my bills. I got to get rid of my crappy car. I got to move out of my apartment that I lived in for 21 and a half years. And then I bought a big house. I didn't have any money left over for furniture. But then P90X came out, and I got to buy furniture. And I got to buy another place and another place. So it all turned out really well for me, and that's it. You know, so that's why your tribe, the people you connect with, who you hang out with, and you know, if you want help in your business, you have to offer somebody to the people, and you have to. You know, it's not like, hey. Like, a lot of people will come to me and say, will you do this for me? And, you know, why would I do that? I mean, I get people who want me to do something for them, you know, 100 times a month. But then when you offer to do something for somebody else, boom, you've made that connection. That doesn't happen. People don't start their business that way. They don't start growth that way. You know, you've got to have something you can offer to somebody else. And then, especially if it's something that they need. You know what I mean? And so that's what I did for Ben on a Saturday afternoon, 22 years ago. And here we are today. So it's awesome.
So go do something nice for somebody.
Go out of your way and just do just a good deed. Offer, make somebody lunch. You know what I mean? Drive somebody to the airport. Call somebody in your family you don't really get along and just say, hey man, I'm thinking of you. I want to check in. Blow somebody's mind. It's just like I'm out of the blue. My wife does it all the time. My wife does that to me all the time. So I do it to her, and that's why we're happy as hell. So
There you go.
yeah, and I like her a lot, so it's easy for me.
Well, thank
So there you
you
go.
so much for taking time out of your night to come and talk with us. It is so much appreciated. I'm so thankful to have you as one of our super trainers, the first one. But we're so thankful for all that you've been able to really give to us over the last 18 years with Beachbody. And thank you for taking the time tonight to hop on and share that stuff with us. So guys, you can check out Tony's website, TonyHortonLife.com.
TonyHortonLife.com. No spaces, all lowercase, easy as pie. Everything you need to know about me, where I'm going, what I'm doing, how to buy my books, how to buy the course. And, you know, I want to thank all of you just for, you know, getting your feet wet here in this world. And building a business is not necessarily easy, but sometimes even the information that you get from Jeff Hill or you know, all the big shots at Beachbody, you know, you go, I'm still struggling with this thing. You go to Shalene for advice. You come to me for advice. You know, you make sure that you're doing the two things you control, which is exercise and eating right. You know what I mean? Taking the supplements so you can recover quickly enough. You know, if you just do it part way or sometimes, you know, you're going to end up with some sort of bipolar disorder. You know what I mean? Consistency is everything. If you go and get, you know, you're consistent with the things that you do to survive. Everybody manages to pay their bills. Everybody manages to go to work. Everybody manages to get dressed in the morning. Everybody manages to, you know, go to bed at a decent hour so they can get, you know, enough sleep to survive the next day. But this is the coaching business. Beachbody is not about surviving. It's about thriving. Pure and simple. I mean, I was the laziest procrastinator who lived on double cheeseburgers and Dr. Pepper, who was sad all the time. That was me. And then I started doing different stuff because I hated that. Do different stuff based on people who are successful, and you too, but you have to believe you can transform. You have to believe that you can change. If you just think, oh, I am who I am because my parents are that way and my brother's that way, shut that off. Do your best. Forget the silliness, I'm telling you. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I want to thank you all for allowing me to be here. I love you. Please come to Omega. There's maybe about 20 spaces left, which means 80 tickets are sold. This room that we're in only holds 100 people, man. So, you know what I mean? Pull the trigger and join the party, and we have a blast. And you meet cool people, and it's not that expensive, and the food is really good. And the accommodations are rustic but fun. There you go. Thanks. My pleasure.
Thank you, Tony, very much. We appreciate it. And we'll see you.
See you soon. See you at Summit if you're there, or Omega. Bye. Bye.